What's going on, folks? Ted from Immersion here, and I recorded this entire video, and apparently my microphone did that thing or OBS did the thing where it likes to just unhook my microphone. So that's fun. So we're going to re-record this video, but there's an awesome new browser game called Blood in Baldur's Gate. It is put on by the folks at Larian Studios. It's available for you to go check out right now, and it's sort of like a text. It's basically a community voted I guess, game where you are trying to solve murders in Baldur's Gate. You can link your Larian Studios account to it, so perhaps it has some sort of integration with Baldur's Gate 3. And I really just think it actually came out, I think, 4 or 5 days ago at this point, and I'm just learning about it now. But either way, let's go ahead and dive in. So here's the website, link in the description. And I used you can see down here, there's these sort of things that are filled in, and I sort of, this is why it says here, you are time traveling. You're traveling in time, my friend. It's because I went back to day 1, because as you continue on, more things become available. Like, you'll see if I click here, right, we jump to the 25th, you'll see all these other additional red options here. So we're going to go back to day 1, and basically you are trying to solve murders. And you can see up here that you'll get an inventory. Yeah, again, I'm signed in. This is all the notifications for when new things come out, and here you can view, there is like a video that kind of gives you the intro. Well, let's go ahead and click this. So it says, Sailor's Crossing, we click it. A quiet plaza near the pier. If we scroll down, you'll see that this, basically, I think the dates match up more or less with our real life dates. So like 24 Kython, is essentially the 24th of June. So you can see here, basically on the first day we had summer 19 Kythorn, DR 1477. DR is the year, summer being the season, 19 Kythorn being the day in the month. It says the saltwater sea of the harbor cannot mask the overwhelming smell of blood in the air. In the middle of Cobblestone Plaza by the pier, a tiered fountain sprays fine mist into the air. At the base is a finely dressed elf impaled on an anchor. Blood pools around the body. Over the sound of lapping waves, someone can be heard retching nearby. The victim. On closer inspection, the anchor has been driven through the elf's torso. Whoever committed this atrocity did so with brutal force. Fresh blood continues to seep from the large wound, soaking through a silk tunic and onto an elven engraved coin pouch, still attached to a leather belt. The loot lies within the grasp of the young victim, never to play a tune from its owner again. The fountain. Pristine water flows freely. A few copper pieces have been thrown into the bottom by wishmakers, but nothing out of the ordinary. Cobblestones. Blood collects around the cobblestones like a network of crimson veins. A faint boot print points towards the direction of Fisher's Wharf. And then again, somebody can be heard nearby retching. And basically what you'll have from this game is when you're on a current day, every weekday, this game will update. And they have a vote for you to basically choose the next location you're going to go to. Now, I don't know what it was when the first day was happening. We do see that there is an update, but that came later. So we're going to fast forward here to the 21st of Kythorn, and you can see another location has appeared, Fisher's Wharf, which means that, Sailor's Crossing was where we were. Fisher's Wharf is the new one. So basically people voted to go to Fisher's Wharf, and that gave us the next location. It says, an oddly decorated boat creaks as it sways on the gentle tide, tethered to the near empty pier. Over the entrance to the interior is a canvas arch where a collection of herbs and other sundries hang out to dry. Shuffling out of the bow is Drusilla, the eccentric alchemist who once hired you to track down a missing talisman. Suppose you're here about the terrible deed what just happened, she says before clicking her tongue. Come on then, hop aboard, tea's already on. Living quarters. Vials of strange fluids bubble on shelves that are stacked with books and bric-a-brac. A steaming kettle sits atop a wood-burning stove near a small square table with an urn placed at one of 4 stools. Knowing what I knows about these things, the flaming fists will be by soon enough to clear onlookers off and cart the body over to the morgue at Harborside Hospital. Best give yourself a rest while you wait. Urn. The cameo of a young woman engraved in a white heartstone is set against a terracotta urn. On a prior visit, you learn the vessel contained the remains of Drusilla's deceased sister. While humming an old tune, the alchemist sets a third cup of tea in front of the urn and says, with honeycomb, as you like it, Kate. Interview. Sipping the fragment tea from a clay mug, Drusilla somberly tells you that what she witnessed of the murder. A horrible sound it was that rung through the streets. The time I looked out, all I seen was a shadow of a figure running off toward Heapside, methinks. Perhaps you'll have luck finding, speaking to folks at the local alehouse that way is the Blushing Mermaid, is it? She looks over at you with concern in her eyes. You take care, Tav. Remember, Tav is the auto default name for your character in Baldur's Gate 3 if you don't give them a unique name. I know you're looking to move up in the ranks, as it were, but a dark deed has been done here today, and whoever done it was more than a mere thief looking to hawk an old talisman. With that, she hands you a corked bottle, explaining it as a potion of invisibility that may aid you during your investigation. A boisterous voice near the scene of the murder calls out, "Thief!" As you peer outside the window, a lanky hooded figure darts down the alley towards Canary Lane. So if you check your inventory, you'll see that we do have the potion of invisibility. So we can go up to the next day, which is 22 Kythorn, and you'll see another location has appeared. Canary Lane. So we click this. As you make your way down the lane, a lanky adolescent stumbles past. He glances back over his shoulder to ensure you've seen him, and your eyes fall to the elven engraved coin pouch at his belt, the very one carried by the dead bard at Sailor's Crossing. When he disappears into the shadows, you follow. Urchin. The young street urchin leads you down the lane and then stops to stand over a sewer cover. That's far enough, yeah, he says. Oh, I'm sorry, we skipped. I jumped ahead. My bad. So we'll go to 22. So we'll jump back and we'll go forward. In the midst of the commotion, your attention is drawn to a young street urchin who sprints away from the scene of the crime. Whoever it is carries a bloody coin perch with elven engraving. Following on the heels of the thief, you momentarily lose sight in the dark corridor and bump into a strange man wearing a top hat. With no time to lose, you continue your pursuit and shake off the sight of the animal skeleton decorating the hat. When you emerge on the other side of the covered street, the path diverges and you pause for a moment to scan your surroundings. It doesn't take long before your eyes lock on the small smear of blood that stains a nearby fence post, revealing the direction the thief fled. Taking the street to the west, you eventually spot a figure pulling a sewer grate. When you grab at him, he glances up at you, face shadowed by a deep hood. Pulling away, he speaks with the voice of a young adolescent. "Some of us need to make ends meet, yeah?" the street urchin says, his defiance betrayed by a quiver in his voice. "Besides that, the dead fella don't need coins no more, did he? Don't you follow me? This is guild's territory." With that, he disappears down a sewer entrance. On the manhole cover, you notice an etching of a skull on the city's coat of arms, and surmise this is how the guild marks specific getaway points. Rumor has it that they make their headquarters somewhere in the Undercity below Sewer Keep, and this must lead to the tunnels, but you heed the thief's warning. Following into the underground passageway without directions or other guidance would be unwise, even with a potion of invisibility. As you trace your steps back from the distraction, you realize the lucky Almirage paw that you keep in your pocket is missing. Knowing the Blushing Mermaid is a hotspot for guild activity, you may be able to conduct your investigation there while also finding a way to get your sentimental charm back. Also at Sailor's Crossing, we have an update for the 22nd Kythorn here. Since returning to the scene of the crime, you notice that the body has been removed and Flaming Fist soldiers have taken measures to secure the area. One of the guard casts a probing gaze in your direction, assessing your presence. Congealed blood now outlines the stones that surround the fountain, and no other evidence remains of the brutal murder. The guard eyes you suspiciously as you approach. Holding a poleaxe vertically against the cobblestone, he angles the weapon to his side to block your path ahead. On his right hand, you notice a tattoo of a red braid around his wrist, similar to the symbol of Ilmater. "There's nothing to see here," he says gruffly. "Took the body to the Harborside Hospital morgue myself. Move along now." Flaming Fist. When you explain your line of work, the gruff guard scoffs. "Amateur detective, eh? How about you investigate ways to make yourself scarce?" A laugh from another guard emboldens him, and he moves into your space to encourage you to move on. As you step back, you take a quick scan for any clues and note the bloodstains on his boot and the hem of his uniform. Perhaps someone at Ilmater's Shrine of Suffering in Heapside could shed more light on the guard's character. Now we move up to the 23rd. You'll see, I think another location has arrived up here, which is the Blushing Mermaid, which says, "You enter the sprawling tavern and inn known as the Blushing Mermaid, hoping to find more information about the murder suspect. The place has a reputation for criminal activity, but you know the Flaming Fist generally turn the other cheek to the shady dealings that take place here. Walking past the life-size wooden mermaid hanging at the entryway, you wander through the maze of dimly lit rooms. Gossip. Excuse me. When you make your inquiries about the tavern, one particularly eager patron tells you I heard the butcher on Market Street is selling monster meat. He's got a tiefling supplier with no scruples. His friends hush him for telling tall tales, to which he responds, shoot yourself. It's no matter to me because I only eat vegetables. Reporter. You locate a table in the back and settle in to observe this evening's dubious clientele, but soon feel a pair of eyes staring back at you. Their owner, a rosy-cheeked gnome, approaches you with a smile and takes a seat. Studying the crowds too, I see, he shouts over the clatter of ale mugs. As a seasoned observer of humanoid behavior, I can always spot a fellow investigator. He adjusts his hat by way of introduction. Zilbar Whistlepocket, reporter at Baldur's Mouth. I'm following up on some leads on this latest grisly murder. This is the third one in 10 days, and so far nothing ties them together. Before this, we had a killing at Insight Park, and there was that nasty business of that dragonborn washing up at Silver Crescent Beach near Sea Tower. So tell me, what fascinating secrets have you unraveled amidst this motley assembly of tavern folk? You tell him it's too early in the investigation to share any leads, and he asks you to reach out to him at the Balder's Mouth if anything important comes up. Could be a big story, and if you help me break it, you're sure to gain a fair bit of renown among the detectives in the city. You talk to the bartender. You approach and inquire about the whereabouts of individuals known to sell stolen goods, but you're dismissed with a hearty laugh. Sure, I wouldn't know anything about that. Undeterred, you press the topic and recount how the street urchin stole shamelessly from a corpse. Might these thefts be related to the unsettling string of murders plaguing the lower city? That's just little Magpie, the bartender replies lightly. Ain't no killer, just wants to join the guild is all. Good for a youngin' to have a hobby, if you ask me. Perhaps you can reason with Magpie near Canary Lane and find out more about the guild. Then we can go over here to Canary Lane and go to the 23rd option here. That's as you make your way down the lane, a lanky adolescent stumbles past. He glances back over his shoulder to ensure you've seen him, and your eyes fall to the elven engraved coin pouch at his belt, the very one carried by the dead bard at the Sailor's Crossing. When he disappears into the shadows, you follow. All right, and then we get back to where we were. The street urchin leads you down a lane and stops to stand by a sewer cover. That's far enough, yeah? He says with a confidence that belies his age. Seems you've caught the eye of the one you're investigating. Wouldn't want to be in your shoes, I'll tell you what. Letter. The youth hands over a sealed letter, and with that, he slips away down the alley. Magic. While you observe the street urchin, you perceive something was not quite right about the situation. You have a sense of magic being used, but cannot pinpoint what school or an exact spell. So I think we actually have the note. A letter to tab. Can we open it? I don't think we can actually open the letter. It is here in our inventory, but then if we go to the next day, you can see several locations have arrived. We have, I think the Blushing Mermaid was already there, yep. We now have Lockley Street and the Harborside Hospital. So we'll click the hospital. It says, inside the hospital, angry patients wait in packed halls. Crowding conditions and lax security allow you to navigate the corridors without trouble and easily make your way down to the basement where the door to the morgue is ajar. Door. The hinges on the door have been replaced on a few occasions, whether due to the rumored spontaneous undead uprisings or mundane reasons. Prepared for the worst, you knock on the door and it creaks open. Morgue. The air is heavy with a pungent odor of embalming fluids. Inside you find no signs of the mortician. Tools of the trade hang on along a wall, some rusted with age. Below that is a desk where hastily made autopsy reports are piled. One of the several slab-top tables rests a corpse covered in burlap. A visible toe tag reveals it once belonged to an E. Sheeran. I don't know if that means Ed Sheeran was that bard that got killed, but that's kind of an interesting choice if that's what they went with. Autopsy reports. Notably missing from the reports is any mention of the bard who was murdered at Sailor's Crossing, but perhaps the mortician has not yet had time to conduct the autopsy. A time stamped with the hospital insignia rests near the papers, and you recognize it as a single-use magic item that allows the user to cast the spell Speak with Dead. No time to use it now, unfortunately, lest you get caught tampering with evidence. Body. You locate the lifeless body of the murdered bard lying on the slab, concealed under a sheet. Pulling back the thin fabric, you are met with a macabre sight. The elf's eyes have been removed. As you glance further down, you discover hunks of flesh and organs have also been carved out of his fresh corpse. After recovering from the initial shock of the grisly butchering of the elf, you note that a fake beard is coming unglued from his face. What could the mortician be doing with these body parts? Mortician. Emerging from the hospital, you see the mortician speaking with the corpse collector next to an empty cart. By her demeanor, it is clear she is exhausted. Could she have killed the elf before beginning her shift at the morgue? Standing within earshot, you listen in on our conversation and overhear the collector talking about a dragonborn body washing up at Silver Crescent Beach in the last 10 days or so. Without emotion, the mortician mentions the victim was sent to be buried at a family plot in Cliffside Cemetery. And then we have Lockley Street over here. You arrive home after a long day of investigative work to review your findings so far. Talisman. You lock the front door and head in, absently touching the talisman that hangs by the door, a gift from your first client, Drusilla. Letter. Now that you have a moment of privacy, you open the contents of the letter delivered to you by the young thief Magpie. Poor dear detective, I see you take great interest in the pursuits of my precious master. Of course, your fascination is to be commended. Who among us does not yearn for a glimpse of that noxious angel, that most vulgar of fiends? I, too, would be pained, if I knew not my master's face. It is a pity that your investigation has yielded such disappointing results. Perhaps some motivation is what your numbed brain matter craves, a game to invigorate your spirits and inspire your investigative urges. And so its rules are set as follows. You have 1 10-day to ascertain the identity of my master. Fail and you shall be rewarded greatly, with a death far more thrilling than your odious day job. Naturally, the game is compulsory, and you are already playing like it or not. Tick-tock, detective. With heartfelt wishes of pestilence upon your family, Scleritis fell. And that's where we're at. And you can see below me, or right below where my head here, there is a timer counting down to the next update, and it shows you what the current percentages are for the votes. So there are these 4 white locations. Those are all places you could go. So Silver Crescent Beach, a body washed up here 10 days ago. Are these murders somehow connected? We have Market Street. This is where the butcher selling monster meat is supposed to be found. We have Shrine of the Suffering. This references the Ilmater Shrine, perhaps where that flaming fist was. And then the last one down here is Insight Park, where another murder happened as well. And you can see, again, the breakdown here is that 29% want to go to Insight Park, 45% want to go to Silver Crescent Beach, 12 want to go to the Shrine of Suffering, and 15 want to go to Market Street. So at some point on Monday, this will update, and we'll learn which one won the vote, and then we'll go to that location to get more information, and more things will go as time goes on. You'll also notice we do have the Speak with Dead token, the letter, and the Potion of Invisibility in our inventory. We're not really sure how or when we can use those, but I'm pretty interested in this thing overall. I think it's actually really cool. I love this kind of stuff, like these fun, like supplemental games to learn information. They did a couple of these in the past. I know some other games have done this a lot, where they you go and you gotta find a QR code in a video or something like that, and it gives you unlock information or lore or what have you. I think this is really cool. I hope it has some way to tie to the actual game, because you're linking your Larian Studios account. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I thought this was really cool, unexpected, but it also gives me now new daily content I can make, where we go and see what the updates are each day during the week. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.